Hi, Total Recapped here. Today we will be going through the events of the 2020 sci-fi thriller movie The Invisible Man, directed by Lee Wannell. Warning, this video contains spoilers, so watch at your own risk. Now, let's get right into the movie. The movie begins with a woman named Cecilia Kass escaping from her boyfriend Adrian Griffin's house. She is in a violent and controlling relationship with Adrian, who is a wealthy optics engineer and businessman. He keeps her in a highly secured house surrounded by huge walls away from the city. One night, Cecilia drugs Adrian with diazepam and wakes up really early the next morning to escape. She disables all camera feeds, alarms, and climbs the high walls to escape. Outside the home, Cecilia's younger sister Emily arrives in a car. Just as she gets in the car, Adrian finds their car and breaks its window. He tries to pull Cecilia out of the car, but she manages to flee. Adrian finds the bottle of diazepam Cecilia dropped on the road in a rush. Cecilia is hiding out in the home of her friend Detective James Lanier. She is still shaken and petrified of Adrian and has a hard time venturing out of the house. Paranoid, she even blocks the camera of her laptop. 2 weeks pass by. Emily arrives with news that Adrian has taken his life. Upon hearing the news, Cecilia breathes a sigh of relief, but is still in disbelief. She recounts that it is hard to believe for her because Adrian was in control of everything, including her. He would control how she looked, what she wore, what she consumed, when she left the house, and what she said. His obsession kept growing, and he would eventually try to control what she thought, and when he didn't like what he assumed she was thinking, he would hit her to punish her. Adrian desperately wanted to have a baby, and Cecilia knew that if she got pregnant, she would never be able to get away from him. So she secretly started taking birth control and hatched an escape plan. Later, Amelia strangely receives a letter at her hideout house from Adrian's lawyer brother, Tom. He, in a meeting, reveals that Adrian has left her $5 million. He takes Cecilia's signature and banking details and tells her that she will receive an installment of $100,000 each month for the next 4 years or so. Freed from her captor for good, Cecilia starts to lower her guard. She gifts James a ladder and offers to pay James's daughter Sydney's fashion school fees. Cecilia continues to live with James and gets on with her life, but strange occurrences start to haunt her. One night while sleeping, Cecilia wakes up feeling cold and finds her blanket on the floor. When she proceeds to pick up her blanket, an invisible figure steps on it and progressively walks towards her, freaking her out. James assures her that it was nothing and she is just traumatized and paranoid. Next morning, Cecilia goes for a job interview, but to her surprise, when she opens her bag to show her work portfolio, she finds it empty. Her work portfolio's content has been removed from her bag. Embarrassed, Cecilia excuses herself and proceeds to leave when she suddenly passes out. She is rushed to a hospital. Later at home, her doctor calls to inform her that high levels of diazepam were found in her system. In her bathroom, she then finds the same blood-stained bottle of diazepam with which she drugged Adrian and dropped during her escape. Well aware of Adrian's antics, Cecilia, accompanied by James, meets with Tom. She tells Tom to tell Adrian to stop messing with her. She accuses Adrian of faking his death. She believes that he used his optics expertise to become invisible in order to torment her. But Tom rebuffs the idea. After the meeting with Tom, Cecilia goes to Emily's home to meet her, but to her surprise, Emily greets her very hostilely at the door. Emily is hurt and angry about a nasty email that Cecilia allegedly sent her, accusing her of expecting money from Cecilia. Cecilia tries to clarify that she didn't send any email to her and perhaps it is Adrian, but Emily, offended, doesn't believe her and shuts the door. Being isolated and tormented once again, Cecilia starts breaking down. Sydney finds Cecilia weeping on the floor. She comforts Cecilia and tells her that they should have a fun girls' night to forget everything. Cecilia agrees and starts to cheer up when suddenly an invisible figure punches Sydney. With only Cecilia in the room, Sydney assumes that Cecilia hit her. When Cecilia tries to check if she's okay, a scared Sydney screams and calls James. Cecilia tries to convince James that Adrian hit her, but an angry James warns her to stay away from his daughter and takes her out somewhere safe. A fed-up Cecilia then dares Adrian to present himself. She asks him why he is after her. He could have any girl he wants with the money and influence he has. So why is he after a simple suburban girl he stumbled upon at a college party? Cecilia, emotional, asks him why can't he just forget that she ever existed. An idea suddenly occurs to her and she calls Adrian's cell phone. To her delight, she hears the sound of a phone ringing. She follows the sound and realizes that it is coming from the attic. She uses the ladder to enter the attic and finds his phone, keys, and her missing work portfolio. She also finds a knife in a clear bag. She then receives a message on Adrian's phone saying, "Surprise," which freaks her out. She then feels someone watching her through the trap door. Gathering some courage, she inspects carrying the knife but doesn't find anyone. She then picks up a white paint and dumps it on the trap door. The paint exposes a previously invisible figure, frightening Cecilia. She follows the paint trails into the living room where it disappears. A sound of a tap is suddenly heard coming from the kitchen. Cecilia walks into the kitchen carefully and finds the white paint in the sink. Choking Cecilia, the invisible figure lifts her from the ground and slams her into the wall. A violent struggle follows. The figure drags her by her hair, but Cecilia smashes a plate on its head and manages to escape. She takes a cab and goes straight to Adrian's house. In Adrian's lab, Cecilia notices a glass chamber with a seemingly empty display stand. She breaks into the chamber, and upon touching it, she feels an invisible object hanging on the stand. She notices a tablet next to the stand, and upon clicking the mode button, the invisible object reveals itself. It is an invisible bodysuit, with hundreds of small cameras embedded all over it. And amazed, Cecilia's suspicions are confirmed. As she starts to take out the suit, their dog Zeus begins to bark at someone at the door. Realizing Adrian has returned, she swiftly takes it out and hides it in her former bedroom's closet and flees. Cecilia then convinces her sister Emily to meet her later at a restaurant. She apologizes to Emily for everything and tries to explain her predicament when suddenly Emily turns pale with fear. When Cecilia inspects, she finds a knife floating in the air, which then slits Emily's throat. The invisible figure then places the knife in Cecilia's hand, framing her for murder. Cecilia is arrested and remanded to a psychiatric hospital while awaiting trial. At the hospital, she learns that she is pregnant. Later, Tom drops by to meet her at the hospital. He offers her to get her charges dropped if she agrees to return to him and raise the child, implying that Tom helped stage his brother's suicide. He reveals Adrian tampered with her birth control to impregnate her, as Cecilia listens in disgust and disbelief. Tom places a phone on the table and tells her that one phone call to Adrian could make this all go away. Furious, Cecilia throws Tom's belongings off the table, accusing him and Adrian of killing her sister. As Tom gets distracted picking up his stuff, Cecilia steals a fountain pen from Tom's bag. She sneaks the pen into her solitary room. Later that night, she takes the pen out and declares, "You won't get the baby, and you won't get me," and proceeds to slit her wrist with it, trying to lure the invisible figure out. The figure takes the bait and tries to stop Cecilia from taking her life. Cecilia then stabs him repeatedly with the pen, causing the suit to malfunction. Hearing the commotion, the guard opens the door and orders Cecilia to go to her bed, when he suddenly notices the semi-invisible figure. The guard, spooked, is then taken out by the figure. Cecilia attempts to flee, but the security team grabs her and tries to drag her back to her cell. The invisible figure attacks the guards for dragging a pregnant Cecilia. After taking out the other guards, the figure flees, but Cecilia follows him outside with a gun. She fires multiple bullets at him, but he doesn't retaliate. He eventually confronts Cecilia in the parking lot. He tells her that she is mistaken if she thinks she has figured out a way to beat him. If she tries to attack him, he won't ever hurt her to protect their unborn child, but he will hurt other people that she cares about. He then threatens to kill James's daughter Sydney and flees. Petrified, Cecilia frantically drives to James's home in a stolen car. The invisible figure enters James's home and attacks Sydney. James, warned by Cecilia, soon storms into his home to find the figure choking Sydney. When James intervenes, the figure starts attacking James as Sydney pleads with him to stop. Eventually, the figure knocks James out and starts to proceed towards Sydney when Cecilia storms into the room with a fire extinguisher and bathes the invisible figure with it. She then shoots the figure with a gun. The figure, wounded, starts to proceed towards Cecilia but eventually collapses on the ground and dies. Cecilia unmasks the figure to find Tom in the suit. The police storm Adrian's home. They find an alive Adrian tied up in his basement. The police conclude that Tom held his brother Adrian prisoner and orchestrated all of this and killed Emily. However, an exonerated Cecilia believes that Adrian set his brother up as the fall guy for his crimes. Afraid of what Adrian might do in the future, Cecilia wants to finish his chapter once and for all. She calls him and agrees to meet him at his house for dinner. At the dinner, Adrian tells her that he has realized that the way he treated her throughout their relationship was wrong, and he would do anything to prove that he loves her. Cecilia tells him that if he wants to be a part of her and their child's life, he has to start being honest. She explains that she wants to hear him confess to doing everything he did, as James is listening to the conversation from a few blocks away through a secret wiretap that Cecilia is wearing. Adrian insists that Tom was responsible for everything and Tom controlled him. Cecilia breaks down and asks him why can't he just be honest and not make her feel like she is crazy. Adrian comes closer to her and tries to comfort her. He tells her that he is the only person in the world who can help her, as he knows her better than anyone else in the world, and it shouldn't come as a surprise while looking straight into her eyes. An emotional Cecilia excuses herself to use the restroom. Moments later, Adrian, waiting for Cecilia at the dinner table, suddenly picks up a knife and slits his throat. When Cecilia returns from the washroom, she finds Adrian on the floor, bleeding. Distraught, Cecilia calls 911. However, out of the dining room's camera sight, Cecilia's pretend frown and worry disappears, and she taunts a dying Adrian, telling him, "Surprise." When James arrives, she confirms what the camera captured. James notices Cecilia carrying the invisible suit in her bag, confirming Cecilia used the spare bodysuit to kill Adrian, but James allows her to leave with it. And that was my recap of the movie. Hope you enjoyed it. Now comment on what your favorite part was, and make sure to hit the like button, leave a comment, and subscribe to our channel. Until next time, take care and goodbye.